Hi everybody, welcome to Racing English. I'm Andrew Engberson, and I'm going to continue to do the NASCAR podcast as well as the road course racing podcast, but from now on I'm going to do it every other week. And on that note, let's get started. Kyle Busch got his first win at Kansas Speedway in the Sprint Cup Series, and he did so at Martin Truex Jr.'s expense. Martin Truex led well over half the race and had far and away the dominant car. But during a pit stop, one of the bolts that holds the hub together, the head broke off and it fell onto the hub and stayed there. Had it fallen off to the side, it would have been fine and it would have just gone on his way. But it fell onto the hub and stayed there. So when the pit crew tried to put the wheel on, it wasn't flush to the hub. So when he went out onto the track, it felt like a loose wheel. He had to come back down and make an unscheduled pit stop, and that was the end of his day. And Kyle Busch got the win, but at the expense of his crew chief. Although they won the race, Kyle Busch's crew chief, Adam Stevens, was suspended one race because they were gluing all 5 lug nuts to the wheels, but they were not securing all of them to the studs. So as a result of that, Adam Stevens and the 18 team's front tire changer was given a 1-race suspension. Then, the following week at Dover, Matt Kenseth got his first win this season. It was one of the most exciting races this year. He held off a hard-charging Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott to get that win. It seems like after he took out Logano last year, he had bad karma and just had bad luck throughout this year. And once they made up after Talladega, as soon as the race immediately after, he got his first top 5 this season. And then the next race, he got his first win. Coincidence? I'm not really sure. But Kyle Larson finished second. It's far and away his strongest run of the year. Looked like he was going to win the thing, but wasn't able to commit himself to spinning out. Matt Kenseth, probably good for his reputation if he wants to be known as a clean driver. Kevin Harvick was throughout the whole race, and especially in the early half, was the strongest car. But due to pit road issues, with the pit crew not being at the top of their game, he kept losing spots on pit road, and I was having to fight back through traffic. And then by the end of the day, it was just too much for Kevin Harvick to overcome, and they were relegated to a poor finish. The next race is May 21st, and it is the All-Star race. My pick to win is going to be Kyle Busch because he's won a lot at Charlotte, not in a Sprint Cup car, but he's won about 10 Xfinity races and also like about 5 truck races at Charlotte. And also, he's been on a roll lately, and his crew chief will be back on the pit box. Last weekend was the NASCAR Xfinity race at Dover, and this race, interestingly, did not have very many Sprint Cup drivers. I think it was Paul Menard and I think it was just Paul Menard was the only Sprint Cup driver in the field. But regardless, Eric Jones got his second win of the year and won the Dash for Cash bonus. Once again, the heat races they didn't live up to their expectations, although this was in the second heat race, there was the first incident when Justin Marks spun out and hit the inside wall. It demolished his car. Probably the bigger storyline than Eric Jones winning the race was Alex Bowman making his first start this year in anything after he lost his Sprint Cup ride to Regan Smith. He raced for Junior Motorsports, led a bunch of laps, and ended up coming home third. Just wasn't as strong as Eric Jones in the second half of the race. I think they got his car dialed in, so Alex Bowman wasn't able to really do anything with him. Darrell Wallace Jr. finished second and in a backup car. I've never seen anybody wad up more cars in practice than Darrell Wallace Jr., and this race was no exception. About 3 minutes into practice, he lost the car, and they were relegated to a backup car. And he fought hard to get a second place finish. I think Dover. He was fighting for the win there last year in the Xfinity race, and he's established this track as one of his strongest. The next race is going to be at Charlotte on May 28th. That's not going to be the weekend of the All-Star race. That's going to be the weekend of the Coke 600. And Eric Jones is on a roll lately. I think he's going to be the guy to beat. The NASCAR Truck Series returned at Kansas, and William Byron got his first win of his career, and I believe it was in his 4th start at the time. Really spectacular run. He led right up until a late caution. Wasn't able to get the restart he needed, but the but everything fell his way. The seas parted when Ben Rhodes wiped out Johnny Sauter in the final corner, taking both of them out of contention, and William Byron was able to bring it home to his first win. The next weekend at Dover, Matt Crafton got his first win of the season. He's had quite a lot of bad luck this year, but he's had speed week in, week out, and it really was inevitable that he got that first win, and now he's locked into the chase. On a less positive note, Ben Rhodes has now crashed 2 weeks in a row. He was second going into the final corner at Kansas. Johnny Sauter's engine started sputtering, and Ben Rhodes went for the move and ended up taking both of them out. I think going for the win is one thing, but throwing away a solid finish like that when he could have pretty easily gone to the top and tried to go around him, especially because Johnny Sauter's engine was sputtering. He knew he had a run. He probably could have made the move around the top, and then at Dover, he wiped out his teammate Rico Abreu. Rico Abreu was actually able to continue and finished on the lead lap, but Ben Rhodes ruined his own day when he was involved in that incident. This isn't a Truck Series driver, but Daniel Suarez finishes second again, and once again to Matt Crafton. One of the races last year at Texas Motor Speedway, I remember it was the spring race. It was the race in June, and he finished second to Matt Crafton, and he drove his heart out to try and get that win, but Matt Crafton was just too strong to hold back. The next race is going to be at Charlotte this weekend, week of the All-Star race, and I got a feeling this is going to be Christopher Bell's race. He was very fast at Atlanta and Kansas, the only 2.5 miles we've gone to. Probably should have won at Atlanta, but had a blown tire with a few laps to go. I think with the guidance of Kyle Busch, he's going to be the Truck Series regular to beat. But just today it was announced that Kyle Busch will be racing in the Truck Series. So unless a miracle happens, Kyle Busch is going to win that race. A theme has been developing over the past 2 weeks, and that has been Toyota's dominance. They've now swept the past 2 weekends, and they are showing no signs of letting up going into Charlotte. Dover was going to be one of the stronger weekends for the Chevrolet teams. But once again, JGR was just too strong for those teams to fight back. That is all for the past 2 weeks in NASCAR. Thank you very much for watching. We will also be posting the Road Course Racing podcast, and I'll see you next time.